Hey there, friends. It's Phil, and this is episode 9 of Grow It. So, let's talk about the colour green. Now, it's not meant to be a controversial podcast, this one, but there can be the wrong colour green in your lawn. And this time of year, so it's what around about 25th of January 2021. It's around this time of year that lawns go blue. Yes. Oh, yes. I'm telling the truth. They go blue. Um, and they go a little bit yellow. And it's all to do. Well, if you don't agree with me that your lawn goes a little bit blue, you're going to have to look carefully at a lawn. And one of the things that I've learned over the years, and many, many years, let's say 20 years or so, well, it's actually 16, isn't it? I'm lying there. So 16 years of looking after lawns, many, 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 many thousands of lawns, is that lawns do go lots of different color of green. And what we're looking for when we're looking for a healthy lawn is we're looking for consistency, because how you improve turf and how you improve a lawn is all about not focusing on what looks good, but trying to hunt down the inconsistencies. And the color of the grass leaf is the best indicator of inconsistencies this time of year. Not the waterlogging, not um, other things that can sit on the lawn. The one thing you've got to do is you've got to look at the lawn, um, and look at the color of the lawn. Now, how you do this, right? How you evaluate your lawn or a piece of turf is there's two approaches I take to do this. The first one is you you look at it from a distance, so you give it a kind of a look from the vista, i.e., the back window, the bedroom window, the shed, the greenhouse, the clubhouse, wherever you want to look. You just look across the lawn, and what that gives you is kind of like this overall sense of how the patch is looking. So that's the first thing you do, and it's kind of quite easy when you do that, is that you can look at all the different aspects of the garden, i.e., how trees affects things, fences, buildings. You can suss out um, the the kind of the overall condition of the ground. So you want to do that looking from a distance thing, and that gives you kind of like a, yeah, that looks pretty good. And the thing is, the one thing you've got to do is you've got to look at the lawn and look for inconsistencies. Don't look across it and go, "Oh, that looks lovely." You have to look. You have to really, really, really use your eyes to look for the inconsistencies, and they are there. There's always inconsistencies in lawns. Now, so once you've done that, you'll go, there's going to be a few patches where you can see inconsistencies. And this time of year, lawns go a bit bluer. The grass leaf goes bluer. Now, it doesn't go kind of blue, blue, blue like sky blue, but what it does is it goes a kind of an emeraldy green, and that tends to, if you look closely at the leaf, it tends to have a hint of blue about the leaf. Now, I think, and this is like an untrained opinion, there'll be more science as we go along. But for now, we're just at the beginning of this journey, is that when you look at the leaf, it will go blue if two things from my perspective. One is you've got older leaf that's sitting there doing not a lot, so you've got no young growth. That leaf is older grass. That's a good thing, right? But the other thing is that you can find that that section of the lawn is dormant. It's dormant. So if you look across the lawn and you've got hints of darker lawn, which are darker green, aka slightly blue, is that's where the lawn isn't growing. Now, that in itself will say, the lawn's not growing compared to the other bits of the lawn because the simplest answer is the ground temperatures are different. The ground temperatures are different because the root zone is at a different temperature. Now, you then start asking the questions. If we think about the podcast previously, episode 8, I think I was talking about aeration is that what you're looking at is possibly waterlogging or roots that are just in really cold ground, or possibly in a different type of root zone to the rest of the lawn. So you've got that first little thing. I can see that the lawn is warming up, or the root zone is warming up at a different rate at different parts. And that in itself presents you the first opportunity that we talked about the other day on the podcast about aerating the lawn if the conditions permit. So that's one reason why you get that bluey thing. Now, the other thing is on the other end of the scale, you get the yellowy thing, right? These are really untechnical terms, but the bluey thing is all to do with kind of old grass, dormant grass, and cold root zone. And the yellowy thing is largely to do with old, more delicate grasses, in my opinion, more delicate grasses, like some fescues and stuff, as opposed to perennial ryegrasses, which are going to be the bluer stuff, is that you're going to find that they are rotting. They got wet and damp and cold and they're dying. They're just dying. The leaf, if you look closely, that yellowing bit of ground is where the leaf is just dying. Now, that's not to say that it won't come back. The thing about fescues that are really key to a grass type mix is the fescues kind of fill it out. But what you get is seasonality in the fescues. So they look really good in the main season. They burn out, by the way, in summer, and then they kind of look really good in autumn, and then they collapse in winter. So it also presents you with the next option which you're going to be thinking is like, one is you want to harden up the grasses. So there's a lawn feed you can do, which is the FE thing that we talked about in the previous episode, putting some iron on the lawn. That will always turn the leaf emeraldy green, emeraldy blue, right? It will harden up the grass. But the other thing is you know that at the appropriate time in spring, you want to overseed with a better grass. A better grass and a better blend means that you can have a kind of a more consistent lawn over winter. More consistent lawn over winter, better start to spring, beautifulness in summer. So, did I say how you go about doing this? Right, so you do the vista thing, you look from a distance, yeah? Now, the next thing you have to do is you go and look at a patch of ground, patch of turf, and you take 1 square meter of turf. Not 2 square meters or 10 square meters, just take 1 square meter in a particular area. And you can obviously you can draw it or you can mentally visualize it, but take 1 square meter and look at what's there. And it's very easy when you do that 1 square meter thing, is that you can work out exactly what the year ahead is for that 1 square meter of lawn. And if it's inconsistencies that we're looking at, is that you want to take out all the inconsistencies of the growth, of the grass type, of the growing rate, of the root zone. You want to work on all the inconsistencies of that 1 square meter. So you do those two things, 1 square meter looking from a vista, and it gives you kind of like, hey, here's a plan for the year ahead. Now, once you've got those two bits, obviously throughout the year, you're going to be concentrating on, that 1 square meter now looks tidy. And you'll also be able to go in and say, the rest of it, what do I do with that? So the simple thing is, there's no avoiding it, really, is lawns either get better or they get worse. They very rarely stay exactly the same year on year. So you have to you have to know, you have to give it a plan. Oh yeah, lawn plan. You have to give it a plan as to what you're going to do this year. And you can't do the same thing every year. You really can't. And what you should learn in the first year to make it look better might be different to what you do in the second year to maintain it. And in the third and the fourth year, you might have to do some remedial work to fix what will happen if you don't do the remedial work. Now, if you don't do the remedial work, and I'm rambling now, but if you don't do the remedial work over certain years and you get loads and loads of growth, loads and loads of growth, the lawn will gradually start to deteriorate. And I can tell you how it deteriorates in many, many different ways, but I won't tell you on this podcast. So, look, your lawn may be blue, it may be green, and it may be yellow. The most important thing this time of year is that you go and have a look, and you look carefully, and then you put a plan together. Anyway, look, I'm Phil. This is Grow It. This is all about getting those lawns looking spectacular for early spring, and we're not far away now. We're kind of pushing through winter, back into winter. And there will be warmer days. And on the warmer days, when the ground is drier, you can do stuff, which is brilliant. So hopefully you're enjoying the podcast and we're learning something as we go. If you want to drop me a message and tell me about your lawn problems, then do. You can quite easily follow the link in the description and you'll be able to leave me a message. Or if you're reading this on the blog on the website, the Gnomes Chat, as it's now been called, then obviously comment on there. Just share your thoughts, and whatever you ask, I will try and answer. Anyway, look, it's Phil. Take care. Catch you tomorrow. Bye.